This video is going to show you solo Grandmaster Nightfall getting platinum rank on most likely the most important Nightfall that you will do this season. Which it isn't this week. The Grandmaster for Warden and nothing is the final week of this season. The reason why it's the most important Nightfall that you will do is because you can farm Adept Wendigos. The heavy grenade launcher. Obviously they're going to get a 20% damage bonus, I believe, something like that. GLs are going to be in the rotation of getting used, definitely. They will be. Will they be invested in slot? We're not sure. I don't like to comment until the content comes out. I know you can do damage tests right now, but I don't like all that stuff. I just like to test. I just like to use it as it comes out and see what the deal is. But I think you're definitely going to be using heavy GL. So this Nightfall is very important to you. It's the most important one to do. Like I say, it's not till the final week. So if you do one and nothing and you've got the selector node now, you won't get the Wendigo. You'll get Malicious Birthright. I am not completing this, so I'm getting right to the end, leaving the boss to 5% HP. If you don't know what the deal is with that, then I've done it in previous seasons. It just allows me to keep the CP. And it allows me to demonstrate builds without losing a checkpoint, right? So yeah, I'm just covering this one because I say it's going to be the most important one that you do, right? So I'll be making fresh ones as the week comes out as well, on all three classes. But I was just playing around with a gun and I was wanting to do something with it, Polaris Lance, and this Nightfall worked out a good environment to showcase it off. Because it's Overlord Scout this season, which obviously is going to end shortly, right? But Polaris Lance is one of the best exotic weapons in the game because of its unlimited fire. So as long as you keep getting your crits, you'll keep getting reloaded. And for every 5 shots, 4 or 5 shots, you'll get the 5th shot, you'll get the perk to proc that does damage, extra damage to enemies and stuff. Works very well on Overlord champions. It works very well on barriers and unstoppables as well. Depends on what the mod is. This season it's Overlord. I've done it with barrier scout and it melts barrier champs. So this scout literally, as I say, it's got it all. Very good scout rifle, and it's not like other scouts. High impact, barely any range drop off, super stable. There's a lot going for it. Plus its exotic perk works with seasonal mods. Like the Monarch does with its poison for Overload and stuff like that. Same thing for this weapon. If you get that ignition blast, whatever it's called, I cannot remember the name of it right now. If you get it on a separate ad, if that blasts to the champ next door to the enemy, then it'll proc Overload. So it synergizes with Overload is what I'm saying. Other weapons that we used was a barrier pulse rifle and a solar machine gun. The reason for the solar machine gun is to showcase machine guns off a bit more, start to use them because they're getting a 10% bonus next when Nightfall comes out. So you need to look out for target lock machine guns. They are going to be the best. Target, not Vorpal machine guns because that's only 10%. It'll be your target lock machine guns that you want to look for. This one I've got Avalanche. It does have its cons, but it's adaptive frame, which is a good style of machine gun. I think probably rapid fire frames are slightly better though in my opinion with target lock, because you can get the ammo out faster and stuff. But adaptive frames are still fantastic, and like I said, it's got target lock and it's solar. I don't believe the duality solar machine gun's got target lock. Definitely has not, unless you update the perk pool for that weapon, which is a very good one, the duality one, and I have got it and I could have used it. There's all sorts of guns I could have used. I just wanted to try out Avalanche, and it's got target lock and it works out exceptional. Plus it's meeting the solar burn, right? So I'm getting the solar burn plus target lock, stuff like that. I have unstoppable arc melee. Well, it's arc or stasis, but obviously it's arc for now. So we stun unstoppables like this. It's critical that you have something to stun unstoppable champions because, well, you can clear them from a range, but that's not the point. There's a certain point in this Nightfall where you must kill the unstoppable. If you don't, you're going to maybe not get platinum rank if you don't know what you're doing and you kill the Overlord instead, which should not be done. I'll point that out when we get to it. because there's still people confused about a couple of myths about this Nightfall, right? About the platinum rating, they're confused with that. You need to know that, because when you're farming this on the final week, if you're not getting platinum rank, you're not going to get the gun as frequent. So you must be getting platinum rank, plus you're going to get rewards, tons of rewards that particular week. Who knows, might be double loot, don't know. So you need to know all the details about this one to speed up your runs and stuff. Obviously, I always recommend farming a team if you can, but if you can't, then that's why you've got people who do solo stuff. So, and not everyone can play in a team, depending on their personal situation, children and stuff like this. So this main room here, with Warden, these are just tips, I guess. Don't push up past these stairs. If you do that, you're going to spawn in the waves of goblins. Right? So don't do that. Why? Clear out the Hydra from a distance first, like so. You can penetrate shield, the Hydra shield, with barrier pulse. Or if you went with barrier bow, that would also be really good. I didn't want to run barrier bow and overload scout because the loadout was like a little bit. You got 2 long range weapons. Wasn't a huge fan of doing that, so I just ran with the pulse. I could have run an adaptive munitions pulse and really optimized it. I didn't. Why? Because I didn't feel like running an optimized pulse. I wanted to use this one from Last Wish. Just wanted to use it. It's not as effective, but I just wanted to use it. So yeah, if you want to run an adaptive munitions pulse, I have tons of them, then use it, definitely. Because your pulse isn't doing anything anyways. It's the only job of the pulse is to break shield. That is it. And actually to penetrate some phalanx's shields, it's handy for that. But other than that, your Polaris Lance is going to do all your ad clear, basically. I recommend you do as much ad clear with Polaris as you can. The more ad clear you do, the more heavy you will get. Because it's an exotic primary, it has an intrinsic perk that gives you more heavy ammo on kill. A chance to get more heavy on kill with an exotic primary. All exotic primaries have this perk. It's not a secret. So you want to play behind this console and just kill all the ads, right? And clear barrier on left. Barrier on right is to be left. Do not clear barrier on right until you're ready. I don't recommend clear out any more ads. Leave the ads at the back for now. Come to this zone here. I'm going to get Charge of Light because I've got Elemental Charge, Elemental Ordnance on. I've got a standard high energy fire build on. If you didn't catch it, replay the start. I'm not going to go through all the mods. Counter charge high energy fire is the big two, to be honest. So every time I stun a shield or stun a champ, I get 20% damage bonus. With solo operative, that obviously stacks, which that's why GMs are that really. That's why they're easy this season, because of that. We've got things like Weak and Clear, which I didn't use because I'm using Unstoppable Arc melee, and I don't have a GL on. I could have put a heavy GL on and ran 3 mods. So Unstoppable GL, Barrier Pulse, Overload Scout. I could have done that. You can do that as well. You can farm it with Wendigo. Wendigo's really good. I recommend a solo GL though. If you're gonna do like have a heavy GL, use a solo one then. Take advantage of the burn. Wendigo's arc, it ain't gonna take advantage of the burn. So to get the next checkpoint with the Ultra, it's based on how many ads that you clear, right? So it's just a percentage. Come up to these stairs. This is where you want to fight from. And just clear out all the ads. Obviously we've got the Storm Grenade build on with Heart of Inmost Light, etc. I know that things are changing in Nightfall, but Nightfall isn't up yet. So we're still going to use what's good right now. The Minotaur always teleports middle eventually. You can T-Crash, but it is a little risky because obviously you haven't got Curious Star, so you're not going to get an overshield when you do hit the target. So you're not obviously going to kill. T-Crash will do roughly a third, or just above a third, I think. But all the ads are where them train tracks are and stuff like that, and you'll be putting yourself at a little bit of a risk. There's no point. I recommend actually just saving. Use Polaris. Just use Polaris. Obviously it's going to melt because of Solar Cube burn, plus all of its perks and bonuses. and get a kill with Polaris on the boss if you're struggling for heavy, because there's a good chance of getting heavy brick. I know that there's a heavy brick knocking around somewhere, which is why I'm not using any heavy, right? So the biggest disadvantage to using Seraph style weapons, and I don't know why this has been since D1 this. I'm not like this D1 guy always says, oh, this is D1, that's D1. No, this is an actual thing. Seraph's weapons always had less reserves. Now that doesn't matter with primaries because it's infinite primary ammo, but Seraph style weapons, I'm pretty sure it would be the same for the sniper as well, the Seraph snipers. So look at the mag. Its magazine size is less than pretty much any other machine gun, so that for its rate of fire, which is one thing I don't like. Why is this like in this secret perk of because it's a Seraph weapon it has less ammo? Why? For what? Just make it standard. I see no one complain about that, probably because they don't even know that it exists. But yes, Seraph weapons, if it's heavy or special, has less ammo than its counterparts of other weapon type, like Hake and stuff like this. So that's one major thing to it that's a disadvantage. So if you want to reuse a different solar machine gun, that's fine. I actually do highly recommend a machine gun in this. If you want to use linear fusion rifles, use them. Just remember that they're going to be changing next season. And when a weapon type changes, I start to not use it, even before the patch drops. Just because I want to get used to not using linears as much. We will still use linears. We just won't use them as much. Cataclysmic will be king of linear fusion rifles. So will be Sleeper Simulant. That's my prediction. Because Sleeper ain't getting nerfed. Bait and switch is still going to be crazy. Damage. It's just going to be 15% less. So what? Bait and switch is still really good. Damage. So you're going to see a lot of Cataclysmic still, but Taipans and your standard linear fusion rifles are Ridge, Regret and stuff you're not going to see as much. You're going to see more heavy GLs, rockets. With these Unstoppables, you can bait them. Make sure you bait them one at a time. Obviously I've got Seismic Strike on, which I feel is probably best. You could use Thunderclap. Thunderclap would be good for your. I'm on about your stopping your champ. I'm not a massive fan of Thunderclap, but it is a fun playstyle. So if you want to use it, you can use it. It's still going to get you that stun. It's just not going to be instant because you've got to charge it up. And while you're charging it up, what's happening? That champ's hitting you, right? Now you're going to be able to tank quite a lot because of double solar resist if you've got that on your chest plate. Make your chest plate solar, of course. But like I said, Seismic Strike's just more instant. It's going to get that stun right away as I want it, and I can melt the champ in one cycle in most cases. This is this room done. I'm not clearing any more ads, just making a pathway for exit. You don't need to clear out the void shield, stuff like that, because it's platinum rank. You just want to kill champs. Minors, mages, they don't matter unless you need to kill them, which they don't. So we'll get a nade in middle and then get our dodge. So the nade's going to clear out a lot of ads. While we do that, we're going to prep the minefields area. Make sure that you set off all mines first before proceeding to kill champions, because this is going to help you out on round 2. We're on round 1 now. On round 2 we need to cap A, B and C. These mines will be a nuisance, so get rid of them now while you can. The champs will fight each other, which is awesome. I've always loved that thing. That's why Warden's my favourite Grandmaster of all time, because it's got all 3 champions. It's a fun Nightfall to do. I know it's exceptionally easy compared to other ones, but it's a great farm. I don't get sick of it. I like the interactions of how champions interact with each other when they fight while you can shoot at them. I like that. So it's not the hardest by no means, as I said, but it's probably my favourite in D2. In Destiny 2 it's my favourite strike, I would say. But not my favourite strike of all time though, because D1's got a lot of strikes that are top notch. I'm not sure what my favourite of all time is, but this is definitely my favourite for Destiny 2 at least. Well, Not Savathun Song and Pyramidion are better than these, but they're not in the game anymore, which is a damn shame to be honest. But this is my favourite. What's in the game right now? So the Overloaders chased us from here, so we're gonna have to improvise. So I'm using my cover a little bit here. Keep getting the stun with Polaris. This won't always happen like this, but it's that thing of adapting to your situation. Obviously, if you're in the middle of the battlefield and there's tons of champs, don't do what I just did. Only do that if you can isolate the overload, which is very easy to do that. Let the overload push you and get the stun like round corners and stuff like that. So obviously I've got unstoppable melee on for arc for the champ, but I'm just going to show you some unstunned damage. Just showing you how good this scout rifle is. Even if a champion is not stunned, look at how much damage the 5th shot does. Yeah, so that's doing, like, what you need to understand is with unstoppable champions, they have the most health pool of all champs when they are not stunned. So you just imagine how much damage that's actually doing to an unstunned unstoppable. Make sure that you shoot all the explosive barrels. They can wipe you. The game can be buggy with the detection of these. Sometimes they can do a little bit of damage, sometimes they can one shot. Just take out explosive barrels. You don't want them up at all when capping plates. Sometimes the explosive barrels respawn themselves, which is quite annoying, so you need to keep an eye on that. Leave one champ left up. Scout for ammo. Like I've got 84. You want plenty of ammo for round 2. So I'm going to make a decision right now to pick up one of my bricks, because if keen-eyed viewers will notice I had 2 bricks earlier. So I'll pick up one, not both, because that would be a waste of ammo, because the machine gun can only hold so much ammo, of course. And then we're going to head glitch this champ. You can see you can use hills and things like that, or cover, strafing in and out of cover to avoid the enemy fire. We'll get a storm grenade down. We'll use the pulse because the champ's just about dead. Don't use your melee. Well, you could do, but I'm not gonna, because you need to make sure that you got it. You will get it back. Obviously, we'd have him most likely. I figured don't use it now, and then I don't need to worry about waiting for the cooldown of it, or thinking about. It's one less thing to think about. So as this phase starts, do not cap here. That is first tip. Clear the 3 goblins with your machine gun, or whatever you want to use. Then come to this zone here, and you want to keep strafing around the cover while using a storm, and then get a shield break. You then want to get that shield break and then whip out your heavy, whatever heavy it is. For me it's machine gun. So I'm going to melt. Get that barrier down, because you are now timed. You need to hurry up. You don't let the unstoppable kill these goblins without the unstoppable seeing you, because the unstoppable will de-aggro. You need to re-aggravate the champ like so. We'll get a stun here. 1 goblin was still left alive. We'll get a storm grenade down and a T-crash. That will just about clear the champion out, or make the champ finishable, which is perfect. Look at the time on here. That's 15 seconds. Don't step on yet. If you were better than me, you would probably clear that a little bit quicker. But you want to get a storm grenade down on C before you start capping A, because obviously the timer stops when you step on the cap point. So you've got more than 5 seconds. The timer will stop at 5, look. Then you want to cap C, then B. This is the best way of doing it. I've done Warden and offing to death, so I know all the best ways of how to do this. Get a storm grenade down again at cap C and spam machine gun. Look at how good that's doing from that range, man. Tell you, machine guns are fun. They're a fun weapon type that we haven't used enough of late. You need to start using machine guns, trust me. Especially retrofit. Even when you're on Grafalcon, doesn't matter. It's melting. Machine guns are melting, and they're gonna melt next season. Start picking out, look in your vault, all those unique machine guns that you probably have. I have tons. Whip out fixed odds in this with incandescent if you want. It'd be great on Ag Clear, not good on champs though. I'll admit that. Incandescent on a heavy, not so good when you're on single target damage, but it'd be good for Ag Clear. It rolls with other perks, the machine gun, and it's craftable. So cap C and do not kill the overload in the middle of the map. There's an extra champ that I've skipped on purpose. The reason for this is because you will still get platinum rank indefinitely. You will definitely get platinum rank. I have done the solo on this lots and lots and lots of times to know exactly that you definitely will. Right? So don't clear the overload because you get a second overload sometimes. So say for example you kill the unstoppable and the overload, you will get an extra overload that you need to kill. Now you definitely need to kill the extra spawn of overload. If that happens, you'll only get gold, which is why people have only been getting gold in the past. And like, oh, I don't like the drop rates on this Nightfall. I made a farm video on it. Oh, I don't like the drop rates. Yeah, because you're getting gold rating and you don't know why. And I'm here to tell you, don't clear the overload in this section. You will definitely get plat. The unstoppable is the one that you take out. That's same for teams. Don't clear the overload. What's the point? Let the overload kill the enemies. You will definitely get platinum rank. Because Grandmasters have this intrinsic thing of that you can skip a champ or two. There's loads of them that have this little mechanic where you can skip at least one and still get plat. Probably it's a fail safe so that you can still get plat. Say for example a champ walks off map, that's not your fault. So it might be intended because they've never patched this out and it's been in the game ages, a long time. So remember, you have a 1-3 token. Don't kill the overload. That's the one that you skip. So now you need to wait for dialogue. This Nightfall is bugged. I repeat, this Nightfall is bugged. This is how you definitely fix it. Don't listen to what anyone else tells you. This is how you do it. If you don't do what I'm showing you, you will bug out the Nightfall. Definitely solo. It's a solo instance bug. It's not so much team based, but teams. It's harder to pull off in a team for some odd reason, but when you're solo, it's dead easy to bug it out. What I mean by this is if you go too fast, the chest will not spawn in, and there'll be no checkpoint marker at the chest, and that will be a good indication to show you that there's going to be no champion spawn at the boss, therefore you will not get platinum rank. But you will actually have to kill yourself. Guess what? On GMs that ain't going to fly, you're going back to orbit. So listen to what I'm telling you. Wait for all dialogue instances to finish, then you claim chest. You will this is a definite fix for it. They won't fix it. We know they won't fix it, so this is how you have to play until then. And you're going to need to know this for the final weeks. As I said, I bet you that final week people are going to do this and soloing. They're going to be like, I can't get my loot. There's no champs. Because you've went too quick, man. You need to wait for the dialogue. There's obviously a CP bug, and has been for a long time. When there's the champions appeared right there, you've done it right. Now you can have fun. Honestly, this is really good, this bit. So you have a choice. You can either melt down the unstoppable, which we can't stun with a weapon, of course, but you can literally melt with Polaris. Or what I like to do is melt the overload when I get a good opportunity to do it, which I'm going to do it right now. The overload is fighting the Cabal Major. So the Cabal Major does massive damage to this overload. If you can stun him in the middle of the map roughly, then it's great. I'm getting a little bit unlucky there if the overload melees the champ, because then you've got no line of sight for overload. But look at the damage. Like, that wasn't damage from Polaris because I wasn't proccing the crits. So it wasn't me, it was the champ actually clearing the overload for us. But we're still getting our rating for that champ. Now it's the unstoppable. So I was in two minds. Should I go down there and risk shoulder charging the champ? No, because then I'm going to have to aggro the champ behind cover, because you can't just do it in the open field like that, because the barrier will definitely melt you, and I'm on about the Cabal barrier. So I'm like, I'm sitting up here anyways, I'll just have fun with the gun. And that's just what I did. The champ's almost killed anyways. You can spam storm grenades with your thruster dodge as well, so it's not a problem to clear the unstoppable up here like this. I always recommend you do that, because once you step down in that arena, that unstoppable can roam to wherever you are on the map if you don't know what you're doing. So take down the unstoppable. Pretty straightforward. Now your next goal is the Cabal barrier, not the Vex. There's no point to take out the Vex barrier because you're then dealing with the easier barrier first, but then you've still got a Cabal one up. These champions, this barrier Colossus, the barrier Colossus do the most damage of any other champ in the game with their solar minigun. Yeah. So you especially on this one with solar burn. So you need to make sure that you fight the champ, this one here, because that champ's distracted by the Vex one, you see. So that Cabal one ain't gonna shoot you. So you're getting a leg up on that champ. Because when you get to the Vex one, it's no sweat, right? Now I recommend you being around about here, specifically because if you're too slow, you're not going to be able to do the exploits. There's, to my mind, 3 exploits. There's actually 3 exploits, isn't it crazy? There's 3 exploits for this Nightfall boss, which I'm not going to show you all of them, just one. In my opinion, the best one anyways, to be honest. So we'll clear out this champ. Make sure you still charge your light ×2, because when you kill this champ, you're going to still have ×1, which means you've got a little bit more damage to do on the boss. Kill the champ and back up as soon as possible, because if the slower you are, the boss will knock you off with his entrance move. Get to here, it's the 3rd girder along, right, and it's an invisible floor. I'm going to speed up the footage for the purpose of the video, but if you haven't saw this exploit before, basically you can do all your damage to the boss from here. Ads sometimes can hit you, but generally you're like 90% safe here, right? So you can do all your damage, spam your storm grenades, spam Polaris lance if you can get your crits, it does massive damage. Use your machine gun. Literally this is a 5-minute fight. Now it is an exploit, I understand that. Some people won't like that, but generally these videos do better than legit runs anyways. Which I have done a legit run on Warden. It's not that I haven't. It's just that I'm showing it for people who are going to maybe need it. If you haven't got a God Roll Cataclysmic with bait and switch, well then you might struggle with the Solar 1 phase. And if that's the case, then just come to this location here. There should be no pride in you farming this. Literally. Your goal is just to farm it. It isn't just to get the best farms. It's to do the fastest farms. That's the ultimate goal. Now I'm going to go to orbit so I keep checkpoint. But obviously this would be a platinum rank run. And I'm just posting up now to make people aware of how important this Nightfall will be. And it's information, you're going to get it a little bit sooner. So that for that final week you're prepared for this Nightfall and the Wendigo farm. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.